Welcome back to Afternoon Live. When it comes to parenting, it can be hard to provide a united front to your kids when you and your spouse don't even agree with each other. Here to provide help, we welcome back parenting coach Tia Slightham. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Hannah.
This is a tough one, and I think a lot of families can relate that you hit these moments where mom and dad don't agree on something, and it can be really hard to work through.
It can be very hard to work through. Parenting is hard enough, but then we bring two different parenting approaches and two different parents, and things can get a little bit confusing.
Well, and beginning with this first point, I love parenting isn't intuitive, right? It's a skill that we're constantly learning it and working at getting better.
Yeah, it's one of those things where most parents jump into parenting thinking that we're just going to figure it out or that our parents just figured it out. And then the cycles continue and continue. We want to look at parenting truly like a skill. If we're going to learn how to knit or become an accountant or do any type of trade or job, we're all learning skills. But for some reason, we jump into parenting thinking we're going to quote unquote figure it out. And that creates a lot of the struggles. And so then when you bring those two parents into that equation, and they're both thinking they're going to figure it out, but they're figuring it out differently, it can be really complicated. Most of the time, we see really common, we see one parent who's kind of more on the stricter side, that more authoritarian approach. And then we have that more permissive, softer parent who's trying to make up for the fact that their partner's a bit harsher. And then each parent doesn't think the other parent is doing it correctly. Each parent thinks the other parent, their process and their systems aren't working, and that creates a lot of disagreements for parents. So the best case scenario is to start thinking about parenting like a true skill set and really reach out and start learning those skills.
Well, and I think a lot of people have the experience of maybe they don't want to repeat some of the same mistakes maybe their parents made, but in doing that, they don't know how to make that change and move forward in a positive way.
It's one of the things we see most of the time. It's, I think, almost every single parent. There's things that we maybe liked or didn't like in our childhood, things we want to repeat but don't want to repeat, but we then find ourselves repeating them and saying to ourselves, I don't want to do this, but I don't know how. And that's where we find most of the parents end up feeling full of guilt or shame or blaming themselves. And I always say to my clients and every parent that we work with, don't blame yourself. You're not doing it on purpose. It is a learned skill. You just haven't learned the skills yet. So give yourself grace and know that you can do better if you truly want to.
That's a great place to start. And then also recognizing that you can only control yourself, so you can't necessarily force your partner to make certain changes if they're just not on board yet.
Absolutely. So we often get stuck in these cycles as parents trying to force our kids to listen and get ready and cooperate and stop fighting. And we realize that forcing them isn't actually getting us anywhere but leaving us frustrated. And then the same thing happens on the parenting front. We try and force our partner to see our approach and force them to do what we want them to do, and it just won't work. So when one parent is ready to say, I want to make changes. I don't want to parent this way. I don't want to repeat these cycles. I don't want to live in tears at night with this guilt. I'm ready to make changes. You've got to know that you can. So one parent committing to make changes is all you need. We hear all the time, I can't get my partner on board, so we have to stay stuck here. That's absolutely false. So I really encourage parents to kind of weigh their options here. Either zero parents make changes, meaning your partner won't agree to make changes, so the two of you decide not to, and zero changes equals zero results, or one parent decides to do something different, learn the skills, start figuring out how to do it in a positive and effective way, and you will absolutely see results.
Well, and you might find yourself in situations where you see your partner doing something that you don't necessarily agree with, but do you just have to kind of let them live that experience and then keep your own path forward with making the positive changes that you've committed to?
That's definitely the best way to go about it, Hannah, because typically what happens is we'll take like a nasty bedtime. It's, taking hours. The kids aren't getting ready. They won't brush their teeth. They're fighting. All of a sudden they have a second wind, and you hear your partner up there getting frustrated or starting to yell. And typically the other partner will jump in and try and solve it, soften it, fix it. And that makes things so much worse. It does a couple of things. One, it increases the intensity between you and your partner and the anger between you and your partner. But two, it also tells your kids, I don't need to listen to this first parent that's up here, but when parent two comes up, I better start to focus. So that makes your partner feel incapable, it undermines them, and it really makes it more confusing for the kids. So the best case scenario is let your partner deal with a situation start to finish, whether you're happy with it or not. And when you start to learn the skills and you know confidently that you're parenting in a positive and effective way, then when it's your turn to handle a situation, you can role model to your partner just as you are role modeling to your kids how to do it without having to say, I told you so, or this is the right way, or your way's the wrong way. But role modeling and really actions over words can speak very loudly.
It's not easy, but I think if you do make that commitment and have a little bit of a plan in place, you can definitely get there over time, right? It's not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight, but a conversation with your partner to say, I'm going to work on my parenting. I want to make changes. I'd love it if you want to join me. Totally your call. But from now on, when you're handling things, I'm going to let you handle them. And let's make an agreement when I'm handling them, I'll handle them. And then if you want to talk about it when the kids aren't around after and you guys want to hash things out and really have that conversation, that's the best time to do that.
I love that. Just approaching it with love and grace goes a long way. Hey, thank you so much, Tia. It was great to see
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. You as well. Thanks for having me.
We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.